We have a 2012 Nissan Armada that the heater's not working, and we're going to hook up and we're going to see what we can find on it. I'm going to go ahead and use the Xtool just to see its capabilities on this vehicle as far as actually doing some troubleshooting. I'm just going to go ahead and start it up because we're going to need to get it warmed up. It's been sitting outside, so it's cold. So obviously the heater's not going to work right now. So the original complaint was that they wasn't getting any heat, and then later on they told me that during the summertime the temperature controls didn't really seem to make a whole lot of difference either. So I don't know. I mean, they seem to say the AC got cold enough, but whenever they turned it to heat, it really didn't make a whole lot of difference. So we're going to first see if the blend air doors appear to be driving the way they should, and then we'll go from there. Since that the car needs to be warmed up, that's kind of where we're at right now, is letting it warm up, and while it's warming up we're going to be able to check the blend air doors. And I didn't mean to hit that button, so come on. Okay, there's the HVAC. It's probably where we're going to need to be. Now, under HVAC on this vehicle, this scan tool has no special functions or active test. Of course, it's going to have live data. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, we got mode feedback, driver mix feedback, passenger mix. Why would they have the diesel exhaust fluid feedback in the HVAC? We'll go ahead and look at that too. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn these controls right here. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to see if I can hear the doors physically moving or if they're clicking. A lot of times these cars, you'll hear a whenever those actuators break or the gears strip, you'll hear either like a stripping sound or a clicking as the motor's trying to turn the plastic gear and the gears strip it out on the you know, from gear to gear. So first we're just going to watch the live data. I'm going to turn the knob. Looks like we're up here on 89, 90 degrees. So we're going to watch what we got here. We're going to see if we see any movement. And we do. Driver mix feedback, so it went from one extreme to the other. 0.39 back to 4.67. So let's go to the, we're going to go over here to the passenger side. We're going to do the same thing for it. And I do hear it moving, and it actually sounds like the door, that the seal that seals around the door is kind of peeling away from the plastic. So it does sound to me like the doors are moving, and not just because you're seeing movement here, a voltage change from the actuator, doesn't necessarily mean the door is physically moving. So remember that if you're looking at your live data and you see some voltage changes from the feedback, which is what you want to see, don't assume that the door has to be moving, because that's not necessarily the case. If it's broke, the motor and the internals may be moving, but the door may be physically, you know, stuck or broken away from the actuator to where the door's not moving. But at this point, I don't want to disassemble any of the dash. You know, always go to the easy stuff first and eliminate that, and then get to the harder and harder stuff. So right now, this tells me that the doors are more than likely moving. So I don't think it's going to be an actuator causing the issue with the heat not blown out of the vents. We can also do let's do the mode. There's the mode feedback, and what the mode feedback is. So this button here, you know, goes from defrost to feet to face, and that also appears to be working. We're going to go ahead and go to face. And I guess while we're here, we can go ahead and check for read trouble code. Let's just see if there's any code. Okay, no trouble codes. Alright, so at this point I'm going to go ahead and pull it up in the driveway, and we will make sure that the coolant is completely full. That's one important thing. A lot of times if the coolant is below a certain level, it's not enough for the engine to overheat, but it's enough to where the heater won't get hot or produce any heat. And then as soon as you fill the coolant system up, you've got your heat back. So that's the first. That's the next step. So I'm going to turn the camera off. We're going to pull up. I'm going to open the hood, and we're going to take a look at that. All right. So I just got it pulled up. And it looks like it's full. Overflow, the reservoir is a little bit low, but as far as the radiator, it's completely full. So we're going to let it warm completely up. The upper radiator hose is already starting to get warm. Now the next thing is to see if the heater hoses are getting warm. Now what we want to do here, make sure that we're on 90 degrees or fully maxed out on heat. I'm just making sure that we are where we need to be there. And I'm just going to let it run until it warms up. Upper radiator hose is starting to get warm. The heater hoses this side feels slightly warmer than this side, but I'm going to let it warm up even more. So what should happen, this is the heater water shutoff valve. Whenever you're in heat, temperature setting, you know, for heat, then this the computer sends a signal, I believe it's just a 12-volt signal, to actuate the motor to open this valve to allow the heat to flow through the heater core. And these will fail a lot of times. And what you can do is you can stick like a test light in here, unplug this connector, use a test light to see if you got your voltage. And if you do, you can take this cover off. That may be our next step. Because it's not real warm, but yeah, it's definitely warmer than this hose here. So this is the hose coming from the engine. It's hooked up down at the engine. And then this hose is the one going to the heater core. So that right now it does not feel like there's any flow through that. So that's probably what we're going to do. Is I'll go ahead and take this off. I think it's just Phillips screws. Then we'll take a look at that. Okay, so as it's warming up, I can definitely feel this hose here is starting to warm up. This hose is still nice and cold. In fact, if we hit right here with the, we've got about 83, 85. Get that glare out of the way. We got about 70 on that side, so that definitely tells me that this is not working. So what we're going to do, I'm going to undo this connector. Then I'll show you how to check. I'm going to go ahead and turn the car off. We don't have to mess with it in any more than we have to. We'll leave the key in the run position, or the run position. So I'm gonna hopefully you guys will be able to see all that. And this is a pretty small connector, but I'll get a couple T-pins in there. And if you use this technique, don't let the T-pins touch each other. Not 100% sure if that's connected in there deep enough, but we're going to watch this test light. Alright, so that's showing that it is getting power to drive the motor. Let me go back the other way. So we're going to open that up now. I'm going to zoom in a little tighter for you. Okay, so what you got is 3 screws here. And yeah, you can see, in fact, before I even touch it, you see how far up the shaft that screw is right there? And I just got everything loose. This right here would have to be down farther in order for it to turn that gear. But what you can do is this right here is the actual valve. Now a lot of times this right here will break also. And this one, it's still good. So let me get some pliers and we're going to turn this puppy. Okay, so all you got to do is this part right here, you got to turn 90 degrees. I'm not sure which way it turns, so didn't really want to go that way, so let's go this other way. There we go. Right there. And that opens the valve so water can flow through this now. There. There, see how that I just pushed on up that shaft? Now if we can keep all these pieces, what do I do with that other piece? Set it over here. Maybe this piece got to go on first. Can't remember which way this piece went. There we go. Now, this will probably work now, but the problem is that eventually this plastic piece will work its way back up this shaft. I'm going to tell the owner of this car that they probably need a new valve. But until then, this will get them by. Trying to figure out what. Okay, so I think this right here is supposed to keep that from walking up that shaft. Anyway, that right there should. Now, a lot of times you'll find pieces broke in there. Now, there was nothing broke in this one, but with that one gear walking up that shaft, it wasn't able to turn the worm gear. Okay, I'm going to start it up. We're going to see if the heater's getting warm. Let's get over a mess here. Any car that's got a heater hose control valve or heater control valve, they call it different things, would be subject to this type of problem. Let's get us some heat blowing. Oh, we're on feet. There's space. All right. That's better. Now we got some heat. Much better. And there you have it. That's a relatively common problem on these Nissans. It's got the heater control valve. But yeah, if you feel and your hoses are not, if one hose is somewhat warm from the coolant coming up, trying to get through the valve, and this side's still cold, that tells you your valve's not opening. Just take the cover off. Be careful with the stuff falling out, and you can manually turn that valve to the open position so that coolant will flow through the heater core, and then you'll have heat. And then what you end up having to do is just replace this valve. If you replace this valve, it comes with the hoses, and the hose, you got this one that's connected down there on the block itself, and you got this one that's just connected right here. So not too bad of a job. Anyway, I'm going to tell them that they need this valve. Right now they can drive it, they'll have heat and everything, and then whenever the valve comes in, I'm going to put it in for them. Till then, you guys take care.